everybody, welcome back to my channel. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope everything is going your way today. Today, I'm coming to you with a declutter video. Yes, today I'm going to be decluttering some eyeshadow palettes that need to leave my collection. Yes, you heard your girl Lily right. She's getting rid of palettes. So, if you want to just hang out with me and see which palettes will not be going with your girl through 2020, then just keep on walking, everybody. Let's get started. Man. Okay, guys, so yeah, the time has finally come, guys. Matter of fact, it's long overdue. Your girl Lily here has got to stop hoarding. I do. And I'm most definitely committed in 2020 to saying goodbye to makeup that's doing absolutely nothing but taking up much needed space in my film room. And while eyeshadow palettes are my absolute weakness, and it breaks my heart to say goodbye to even one, it's time to say goodbye to the eyeshadow palettes of yesterday to make room for the new eyeshadow palettes of tomorrow. So let's get started. Okay, guys, because I've been adding to my eyeshadow declutter box over several months, I don't remember exactly every palette that's in it. But what I do know is there are palettes that I absolutely won't be tempted to pull out the box and put back on my shelf. And I won't be going in any particular order, guys. I'll be just pulling the palettes out of the box one by one, showing them to you guys, my peeps, and then bidding them a farewell. Okay, guys, the first palette I'm going to declutter is from LA Colors. I'm going to be decluttering the LA Colors Frisky Eyeshadow Palette. And it's not that this is a bad palette. I actually remember using it in one of my videos and being quite impressed. And I believe this palette maybe cost $5.99 or $9.99, if anything. But guys, these shades are so stinking cute. And I absolutely do love the color story. It's just that once I used it once, I never reached for it again. And guys, this is actually one of the best eyeshadow palettes that LA Colors has ever made, in my opinion. And I do highly recommend this palette for anybody who's on a budget, but unfortunately, guys, I know I won't be using it again. So unfortunately, it has got to go. Next. Okay, guys, and the next palette I'm going to be decluttering is from Morphe. I'm going to be decluttering the Morphe 35F palette. Now, guys, this was actually all the rave on the tube at one period of time, along with the 35O. And I can see why. This is actually a very nice fall color story. And if I recall, the formula is quite nice. Let me just watch a couple of them for you right quick. And guys, the quality of the shades in this palette are quite nice. But I think what kept me from using the palette again is that other than these two shades, which are the darkest mattes in the palette, the rest of the shades in the palette are just a little lackluster. So yeah. I can't substantiate keeping a Morphe palette just for shimmers, because I have so many more shimmers that are better than the ones in this palette. So yeah. Unfortunately, Morphe 35F, you have got to go. Next. Okay, guys, the next palette I'm about to get rid of is from a company called Santi. I'm getting rid of the Santi Makeup Kit Eyeshadow and Bronzer Palette. And if I recall, I actually picked this up at City Trends in their makeup section. They actually have nothing but affordable makeup in there. And yeah, I thought that I would be impressed with the formula. But no. The shades in this palette are powdery as all get out. And these are supposed to be shimmers. They don't seem to be shimmering at all. And as a matter of fact, guys, I'm still trying to find the bronzer inside this palette. So yeah. This was actually a $1.99 that I could have kept to buy me a large coffee from Speedway. Next. Okay, guys, and the next palette that I'm going to be bidding farewell to is actually by Profusion. I'm going to be decluttering the Profusion Sienna's palette. Now guys, I will be the first to let you know that I believe that Profusion has some of the best drugstore formula shadows out there. And when looking at the color story of this palette, it's absolutely stunning. It's a nice palette for the fall. But the truth of the matter is, guys, I just don't use it. Guys, would you please tell me why I'm getting rid of this palette? Alright, I know. Because I got far too many warm tone palettes in my collection already that I'm currently struggling to use. I'm going to make sure that this makes its way to a nice home because it is a nice palette, but it deserves more love than I can give it. Next. Okay, guys, and the next palette that absolutely has to go is from Ulta Beauty. I'm going to be decluttering the Ulta Beauty Melissa Michelle Bling on the Glam palette. And guys, I remember when I swatched this in Ulta, I fell in love with this palette. Mostly because your girl's a sucker for presentation. But when looking at these shades, guys, I'm sure I have every single shade in this palette 1,000 times over. But it does come with a silicone brush that you can use to pick up the glitters, which these are all glitters. And it even comes with a lip gloss, which is just falling on the floor. And I will not be swatching this palette because it is totally unused. So I'm going to make sure that this goes to a nice home. But I bought this almost 2 Christmases ago. And if I haven't used it by now, I'm never going to use it. Next. Okay, guys, and the next palette I'm going to be decluttering is from Makeup Revolution. I'm going to be decluttering the Emily Edit Wants palette. And guys, what actually made me buy this palette is 1, I absolutely love Emily Noel. And 2, I absolutely love the color story of this palette. But after all the controversy that this palette caused between Tati and that other girl, who I don't even know her name, it seemed to be that this palette caused more controversy than I would like, because your girl don't like controversies. And to be honest, guys, the quality of the shades in this palette are not worth the controversy that it caused. Unfortunately, guys, this is a palette that you'll never ever see me use, because it has got to go. Next. Okay, guys, and another Morphe palette is about to sail away from my collection. I'm going to be decluttering the Morphe 25V palette. Now, guys, I can't tell you one way or another what the quality is of this palette. But what did draw me in was this a nice warm tone color story. And I think I bought this at a time that I didn't know color existed. Ooh. But the quality feels kind of nice. False alarm, guys. That was the shimmers. So the shimmers are quite impressive, but the mattes not so much. So I'm sure that my mom would love to use this palette on Sundays when she goes to church. But it's definitely leaving my collection today. Next. Okay, guys, and the next 2 palettes that absolutely have to leave my collection are from Beauty Creations. I'm going to be decluttering the Beauty Creations Sugar Sweets palette and the Beauty Creations The Sweetest palette. And in retrospect and looking at the color story of both palettes, I really don't know what I was thinking about when I bought them. Because neither color story is my aesthetic, not at all. But these swatches are from the Sugar Sweets palette. And these swatches are from the Sweetest palette. Now, I will not lie to you guys. The shimmers in both palettes are next level. But the Mazibo palettes are just bad. So, I've already used both palettes once. And that was actually one time too many. Next. Okay, guys, and the next palette I will be decluttering today is from Japanese. I'm going to be decluttering the Japanese Velvet Touch Metals Eyeshadow palette. And guys, what actually made me buy this palette initially was the layout and the color story. Would you look at the color story of this palette? Would you look at the layout of this palette? This palette is so aesthetically pleasing. This is a palette that's best used by someone who likes a little bit of color, but doesn't want it to be too much in your face. The quality is good, but I love my shimmers to be a little more dramatic. I'm sure I can find a nice home to get this too. But unfortunately, guys, there's not enough room in mine. Next. Okay, guys, I'm getting rid of another Profusion palette. I'm going to be decluttering the Profusion Chocolates palette. And again, guys, I actually did use this in one of my videos and absolutely loved it. But I never used it anymore after that. Again, guys, this is a very nice color story, but unfortunately, it does not have that many dark shade mattes in there. And the shimmers are most definitely bay, and the Master Art in the palette are quite buildable and blendable. But, again, guys, this is just yet another neutral palette that I know I will not use. So, I gotta say goodbye. It's got to go. Next. Okay, guys, and the next palette I will be decluttering today is from Cosmetics. I'm going to be decluttering the Cosmetics Emerald City Eyeshadow palette. And when looking at the palette online, of course, it was much richer than what I'm showing you today. And guys, I do believe I tried to use this palette once, but I wasn't impressed with the mattes. Or was it the shimmers? Or was it both? Okay, guys, after further research, I've determined it was both. The shimmers don't do much for me, not even when you wet your brush. And I did find that the mattes were quite patchy and not pigmented at all. So, this may work out for somebody else, but it absolutely didn't work for me. Next. Okay, guys, and the next palette I'm going to be decluttering is from BH Cosmetics. I'm going to be decluttering the BH Cosmetics Solar Flare 18 Color Baked Eyeshadow Palette. And I just remember when I saw the color story of this palette, I absolutely had to have it. And looking at the color story, how could I not? But, when it was in the shadows in the palette, I quickly lost my excitement. And don't get me wrong, guys, while some of the shades in the palette definitely give you the wow factor, you have other shades in the palette like this that give you absolutely nothing. Your girl Lily here does not have time for inconsistency in 2020. It's been real, Solar Flare. But you have got to go. Next. The next palette that has got to go is also from Makeup Revolution. It is the Makeup Revolution Flawless 4 eyeshadow palette. And I believe this is one of my very first eyeshadow purchases from Makeup Revolution. And I knew absolutely nothing about their formula. And I just remember when looking at this palette online, unlike now, it looked like it had nice pops of color. And it looked like the shimmers were shimming. But unfortunately, guys, when I tried to use this palette, it appeared that your girl had been catfished. See what I mean, guys? These shades in this palette are absolutely totally lackluster. They're almost non-existent. It's a good thing I only paid $10. But now that I think about it, I could have had a caramel macchiato instead. Next. Okay, guys, I'm saying goodbye to another Morphe palette. This time it's going to be the 35E that's on the chopping block. And I must admit, guys, when looking at the color story of this palette online, your girl was intrigued. But once I received it and saw it in person, it's clear that the pictures have been photoshopped. Now, don't get me wrong, guys, the palette swatches quite nicely. But as I'm looking at it, I realize now that this palette has not one matte in it. It's actually an all shimmer palette. And again, guys, I have so many other shimmers in my collection that make me much happier as well. For 2020, lackluster all shimmer palettes have got to go. Next. Okay, guys, and I'm also getting rid of another Makeup Revolution palette. This is the Mermaids Forever. And yes, the color story of the palette definitely gives me mermaid vibes. But I think it was the quality that made me not pick up this palette anymore. Yep. It was the quality that made me not pick up the palette anymore. Yep. More powdery, underwhelming shadows. And I'm so glad that Makeup Revolution have significantly improved their formulas. Well, there's no need for me to keep this anymore. This is not going to a friend. This is going in the trash. Next. Okay, guys, and the next palette I'm going to get rid of is actually a pressed glitter palette. I'm going to be decluttering the Cosmetics glitter palette. And guys, what drew me in, I actually got this on Amazon, and the pictures were astounding. And honestly, guys, the color story of the glitters in this palette is absolutely amazing. But I just remember when using this blue, after you get past the top layer, all you really left with is gel and no colors. I mean, should I swatch it for you guys? I mean, should I take one for the team? Okay, guys, if you all insist, I'm going to take one for the team. Okay, guys, I will not lie to you. The glitter is definitely amazeballs. Only on the top layer. But once you get past the top layer, you're not going to see none of this. And glitter hangs around far too long to be lackluster, so this is most definitely got to go. Next. Okay, guys, in the next two palettes I'm going to be decluttering today, I actually buy Urban Decay. I'm going to be decluttering the Urban Decay Vice 1 and Vice 2. And guys, it really breaks my heart to do this, because the quality of the shades in these palettes are so thick and good. This is the Vice 1 palette, and I absolutely love the color story of this palette. But I haven't used this palette in close to 2 years. These are just a few shades in the palette, and they are more on the satin side, but guys, they are definitely a high quality satin. So I'm most definitely gonna give this to somebody who's gonna love it. I mean, the packaging is still so thick and cute. I hate to get rid of it, guys, but I promise you, it is not going back on my shelf. And guys, this is the Vice 2 palette. Would you look at the color story of this palette? Would you look at it? This is a nice, smoky palette. But the truth of the matter is, guys, again, I haven't used this even since I've used the Vice 1. Guys, why am I getting rid of this palette? Why am I getting rid of this palette? Do you see the shimmers in this palette? They are absolutely stunning. But guys, remember when I said I was absolutely certain that there were no palettes in that box that would not make their way back to my shelf? Scratch that. I can tell you that this is going in a maybe pile, but I'm too old to play games to be ashamed of my decisions. This is going right back on the shelf. And that's about to happen stat. Next. Okay, guys, in the 25A from Morphe is going to be joining its sister, the 25B. I think I may have swatched it once, and that was during a makeup haul. And while it does have very nice warm tone colors, the colors that drew me in are actually colors that I can find in my 35R, which I decided to keep. So I've got these shades 1,000 times over in my collection. So this is another palette that will be going home to mama. Next. Okay, guys, and the next palette I'm going to be decluttering is by Lorac. I'm going to be decluttering the Lorac Unzipped Desert Sunset palette. And guys, I pondered and pondered and pondered for months and months and months and months on whether I was going to get this palette or not. It went on sale a few times on the Kohl's website, but then it went half off on the Ulta website. Your girl just had to get it. And while the color story is quite nice, and I generally love Lorac shadows, this one didn't really impress me. Now, while the gold shade in the palette is absolutely stunning, the rest of the shades in the palette are actually just average, so there's not enough room in my collection for an average palette. So this has got to go. Next. I'm going to be decluttering the Supernova palette by BH Cosmetics. Now, guys, I actually found that the quality of every single baked shadow in this palette is absolutely next level. But I feel like I've totally outgrown all baked shadow palettes. Now, I would be totally lying to you guys, my peeps, if I was to say that every shade in this palette didn't perform well. But again, guys, I don't have any room in my collection for companion palettes. But it's real Supernova. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Next, the Smoky Eyes 28 Color Eyeshadow Palette by BH Cosmetics has got to go. And I must admit, while this formula is not that bad, the newer formula BH Cosmetics shadows are much, much better. And again, guys, the quality of this palette is not bad at all. The mattes are actually the star of the whole palette. They're pigmented, blendable, buildable, but as far as the shimmers go, they're quite powdery, guys. Well, there is no room in my collection for powdery shimmers. Well, it's gonna go to a nice haul, but it's gotta leave mine. Next, the Take Me Back to Brazil palette by BH Cosmetics has got to go. And we're looking at the color story of the palette. Any of you guys, my peeps, who've watched me for any period of time already knows I love color. And it was the right price at the right time. But since I purchased this palette, I've actually learned what a quality, colorful palette to perform like. And while this palette does indeed have some very nice pops of color, some of the shades in the palette are quite pigmented, while some shades in the palette are mere duds. So, I have to tell you where this is going. I don't have to tell you where this is going. Next. The BH Studio Pro Ultimate Artistry Shadow Palette has got to go. Guys, when this palette first launched on the BH Cosmetics website, I remember purchasing this palette on the release date because I absolutely love the color story. You can go from day to night with this palette, winter to summer with this palette. You can really do a lot with this palette. But the truth of the matter is, guys, I may have used this palette twice, and that was during the year I purchased it in, which was probably 2 years ago. And guys, I will not lie to you. The shades in this palette are absolutely impeccable. But I feel like I'm not loving it enough. I mean, who am I fooling? I'm not loving it at all. So I'm going to give this to somebody who will absolutely use it quite often. But I have no room in my collection for this palette anymore, guys. It has got to go. Next, the Four Eyes 2 palette by BH Cosmetics has got to go. And honestly, guys, I really don't know what I was thinking when I purchased this palette. I did purchase this right around the time I first started my channel. And I heard BH Cosmetics was all the rave on the tubes. It was affordable, so I had to try it. And while this palette most definitely lives up to its name, and that it definitely gives you foiled eyes, the quality is impeccable. But I know I will not reach for companion palettes, because I like doing my looks using just one palette. So, I'm going to definitely give this to a nice home. It's been real for all eyes. It's been real. Next. Guys, all this swatching and dragging is making me thirsty. Oh, please. Okay, guys, the Golden State of Mind palette by ColourPop has got to go. Guys, this is yet another all shimmer palette. And while ColourPop is usually notorious for having the bomb.com shimmers, somehow they missed the boat when they created this palette. And because I have good friends and want to keep it that way, I will not be passing this palette along. It's going straight in the trash. Next. The Semi-Precious palette by ColourPop is another all-shimmer palette that has to go. It has a very nice color selection of 8 shimmers in the palette. And unlike the Golden State of Mind palette, guys, ColourPop killed it with the Semi-Precious palette. But I know I won't reach for this palette because it's all shimmers. So it's gotta go. It's gotta go. Right. Next, the 15N by Morphe has got to go. This is actually a palette that I got in my boxy charm. Perhaps I should hold on to it since boxy charm has lately been cheating people out of palettes. And the palette actually does have a pretty nice color story, guys. It's got some plums. It's got some warm tones in there. Got some highlight shades in there. But I just wasn't that impressed with the quality. Don't get me wrong, guys. Upon looking at the swatches, they're not half bad. But then again, they're not amazing. So while I really would love to pass this palette along to somebody I know, I don't want to break up my friendship. So this has got to go. Next, the NYX In Your Element Fire palette has got to go. Now don't get me wrong, guys. I was so excited about this palette because in looking at the color story, guys, how could I not be? But as you can see, the mattes are quite powdery to the point that it actually contaminated some of my shimmers. They're not shimmering at all. They're chunky and powdery. NYX missed the mark with this palette. So it's been in my collection quite long enough. Actually too long. It's got to go. Next, the Sugar Trip Squad palette by NYX has got to go. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I bought this palette strictly for the packaging. Okay. I also bought it for the color story. But my real issue with this palette is you actually can hardly tell the mattes from the shimmers. Because the shimmers in this palette are mostly a satin quality. And I really like my shimmers to pop, guys. I have these shades in my collection by more quality brands. There's no more keeping palettes for the packaging in 2020. This has got to go. Next. Guys, if I couldn't keep the In Your Element Fire palette, I absolutely can't keep the In Your Element Earth palette. And what made me actually buy this palette is I actually love the grungy look. But just like the Fire palette, the formula came up short. While a couple of mattes in the palette are quite pigmented, a couple of mattes in the palette hardly even show up no matter how much you build them up. And honestly, guys, I can get a more quality look out of my Subculture palette by ABH. There's no way on earth that I'm going to keep this palette. It has got to go. Next, the Carity Just Peachy palette has got to leave my collection. Now don't get me wrong, guys. I totally love the color story of this palette. I have no problem with the quality of the palette. I have no issues with the performance of the palette. I have no issues with the color story of this palette. I just don't use it. See what I mean, guys? The quality of these shades in this palette are next level. And the color story in the palette is absolutely bad. So the only reason I'm getting rid of this palette is because I know I won't use it. And this palette most definitely deserves some love. And you know what they say. If you love something, set it free. So yeah. So I'm gonna find somebody to love it. It's been real, Carity. But you have got to go. Next. The Watch Me Blush palette by the Crayon Case has got to go. And guys, in looking at the color story of this palette, surely you can tell that is not the reason that I'm getting rid of this palette. Honestly, guys, in looking at the swatches of this palette, I do not think it was the formula that had me as underwhelmed as the smell when I first purchased the palette. But what I do remember is that when using a couple of mattes in the palette, I did have an issue with patchiness. So, and if I recall, guys, the Crayon Case is having a blowout sale right now. And everything on their website is sold out. Except for this palette. So, more than likely it's for a good reason. So this palette has got to go. Next, I'm gonna be decluttering the Element of Surprise palette by ColourPop. And guys, I do like this palette. But if you were to take away this pink and this purple, all you have is a warm tone base palette. Neutral is all get out. And I haven't even... Guys, I dropped the palette. Well, if I was going to pass the palette along, I most definitely am not going to do it now. Next. Okay, guys, to be passionate about palette by Makeup Obsession has got to go. Guys, I actually purchased the B. Jordan palette and another palette by Makeup Obsession, and I absolutely loved it. So when I saw the color story of this palette, I decided I would go ahead and give this one a try as well. But that happened to be a poor decision. And to tell you the truth, guys, I think this palette was nothing short of a money grab for Makeup Obsession. So, yeah. The performance of this palette is very short of amazing. So I will not be passing it along. It will be going in the trash. Next, the Pumpkin Spice palette by Peachy Queen has got to go. Guys, when I used my first palette by Peachy Queen, the Kush Queen palette, I was so impressed. I was elated. I was in love. So I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and try another palette. The Pumpkin Spice seems to be pretty famous. I don't know why. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. The color story of this palette is absolutely amazeballs. But the performance of the palette, not so much. My girl KK has this palette, and she actually decluttered it and got rid of some of the shades. And I actually know why. There is one amazing shimmer in the whole palette, and it happens to be the one that came shattered when I received it. And unfortunately, guys, these swatches are pretty underwhelming. They're not even drugstore quality, in my opinion. So, I'm just being honest, guys. Well, I could never in a million years take the Kush Queen palette out of my collection. I could never in a million years put the Pumpkin Spice palette back. Next, The Midnight Masquerade palette by Pure has got to leave my collection. This is actually a palette that I got in my BoxyCharm before BoxyCharm started duping people out of palettes. It comes with blushes and highlights on one side, and it comes with eyeshadow shades on another. And I've never swatched it before, never used it, and I won't do it now. I'm actually going to give this away, so I'm going to put this in my little giveaway pile. Yeah. I do love Pure eyeshadow products, but this just didn't speak to me. And there's no reason keeping it in my collection if I know I'm not going to use it, so yeah. I'm going to get this to a nice home. See you later, Pure. Next, the Toilet Toaster palette has got to leave my collection. This palette smells so stinking good, but that's not enough of a reason to keep it. When I first saw this palette and swatched it in Ulta, I fell in love. But then, I actually used it on my lid. Now don't get me wrong, guys. The quality of the shades in the palette are most definitely good. But I don't consider them to be high-end quality as well. There's no reason for me to keep this palette just for the packaging, because that's the only reason I would be keeping it as well. It's been real, Tarlet. It's been real. You have got to go. Next, the Nudie Patootie palette by Laura Lee Los Angeles has got to leave my collection. And guys, I must admit, I was quite excited to get this palette. I have been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for months and months when it first came out. And I thought that I would really be intrigued by the palette when I got it. But no. When I saw people using this shade on the tube and this shade on the tube, I just knew I had to have the palette. But then, when I applied it on my lid, it applied just like any other shimmer that I own. Now, while this shade is quite pretty and it does have a gold pinky shift, I already own dual chrome pink shades in my collection. These are really the only two mattes that are usable for someone of my skin tone or darker. And no, I'm not getting rid of the Nudie Patootie because everybody cancel Laura Lee. Because your girl Lily does not believe in cancel culture. But I also don't believe in keeping subpar palettes in my collection. Next, the Party Animal palette by Laura Lee Los Angeles has got to leave my collection. And while the color story is quite pretty and does have the basic colors of the rainbow to create an eye look, minus the red, the quality of the shades in the palette are also quite good. But again, guys, I've got these shades in a million palettes that I own, a trillion times over, so yeah. There's no reason for me to keep a mini when I've got so many full sizes that are even better. Next, the Cosmetics palette by Bad Habit has got to leave my collection. As you guys already know, Bad Habit is no more, and I'm actually quite a fan of Bad Habit quality shadows. But for some reason, I feel they missed the mark with this one. And while some of the shades in the palette perform like Mother Pat, some of the shades absolutely did not. I found that the white shade in the palette was quite powdery. And the kick up in the pan is next level. And while the shades in the palette did indeed swatch okay, yet and still, guys, they are definitely still not a comparable dupe for Mother Pat's palette or else. Besides the fact that this palette is a mess, it's not worth keeping, so it has got to go. Next, the Hot Chocolate Ice Sugar and Hot Chocolate Ice Spice palettes from e.l.f. have got to go. I really don't know what made me buy these palettes, but I just know that they look better online than they did when I got them. The excitement quickly left me, but yet and still, guys, they have got to go. Next, the Paradise Enchanted Scented Eyeshadow palette by L'Oreal has got to leave my collection. Guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. I only bought this palette because it smelled like peaches. And I really don't give drugstore makeup a fair shot, so I figured I'd give L'Oreal a try. And when I used this palette, guys, I was quite underwhelmed because while the shimmers in the palette were just okay, the mattes in the palette left a lot to be desired. This is the darkest matte in the palette, and it won't really show up on my skin that much. And again, guys, the shimmers, they are okay, but nothing spectacular. Nothing I haven't seen before. And to tell you the truth, guys, Profusion palette formulas are much, much better. You get much more product for far less money, so I was rooting for you, L'Oreal. I was freaking rooting for you. Next, the Frost palette by Carity has got to go. Now, guys, I like the Just Peachy palette, which I totally loved. Unfortunately, guys, I can't say the same for this here palette. This is actually an all shimmer and satin palette, for which I'm quite underwhelmed. I swatched this palette during one of my haul videos and never reached for it again. And while the shades are quite pigmented, the quality is subpar, guys. If you wet your brush, they're going to be pasty. And if you put them on dry, they won't even stick, so yeah. This is one palette that I most definitely won't miss out of my collection. Bye. Next. The Milani Gilded Desires palette has got to leave my collection. Guys, this palette was all the rave on the tube. And when I used this palette in one of my videos, I couldn't even understand why. Guys, I will not lie to you. This gold shade here, which is the focal point of the whole palette, is the absolute best shadow in the whole palette. And guys, I really thought I would love this palette because I absolutely love the Milani Bold Desires palette, which is more of a warm tone palette and it has richer shades. But when using the mattes in this palette, even when trying to build them up, they gave me hardly any pigment, so yeah. This palette is not worth the trouble it took for me to achieve a decent eye look, so yeah. Next, the ColourPop I Think I Love You palette has got to leave my collection. And guys, I am not getting rid of this palette because of the quality, not at all. I'm not even getting rid of it really because of the color story. Because guys, this color story is actually on trend right now. With the soft glam looks and the nice dainty eye looks. Yeah. I just feel like since I have the Bare Necessities palette now, which has similar tones as the I Think I Love You palette, I don't really need to keep this palette. So I'm going to go ahead and give this to somebody who I know will love it because the quality is next level. And I really do love this palette, but yeah, I've already got the big sister. So yeah, it's got to go. It's gotta go. Next, the Pure Festival palette has gotta leave my collection. I actually got this yet in another BoxyCharm subscription box. And I don't know what it is, guys, but for some reason, BoxyCharm seems to keep Pure palettes in their rotation. Well, except for the last subscription box. We know how that went. Guys, the color story of this palette is actually really pretty. But I feel like Pure kind of got us with the pop of pink and purple. Yeah. And while the quality and pigmentation of the shades in the palette are quite nice, the world doesn't need another neutral palette with a pop of pink and purple. So yeah. It's a wrap for this palette. it's a wrap. Next, the Club Tropicana 28 Color 4 Eyeshadow Palette by BH Cosmetics has got to leave my collection. Partially because you guys, my peeps, can't even get this palette anymore, so I can't use it on my channel. Yeah. Secondly, because the quality of the shades in the palette are so underwhelming that I wouldn't use it on my channel. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. The color story is absolutely amazing. But how it translates in the pan is definitely not how it translates on your lids. So, these are powdery as all get out. I can't call them a shimmer. Can't call them a satin. Definitely can't call them a matte. So, BH Cosmetics missed the mark with this one. So, this has most definitely got to go. Next, the Matte for Matte Jewel Pop Eyeshadow Palette by e.l.f. has got to leave my collection. What made me buy this palette is I so fell in love with the color story. When you look at the color story of this palette, it's absolutely stunning. Okay, guys, I stand corrected. Maybe I jumped the gun just a little bit when putting this in the declutter box. Those shades look like they have a little promise. Yeah, they look like they have a little promise. Okay, guys, I'm not going to declutter this palette just yet. I'm going to do a look. And then I'll decide if I'm going to really keep this palette in my collection. Next, the next palette I'm going to declutter is from Okaline. I'm going to be decluttering the Okaline Neutral Eyeshadow Palette. The palette has a pretty decent color story, but again, guys, this is an all shimmer palette. Now, when looking at it, guys, the shimmers aren't really shimmering. Not at all. And when swatching it, guys, the satins aren't all that great. When wetting your brush, the shades get pasty as all get out. So yeah, I'm not even going to pass this along. I'm going to throw it away. Next, the next palette I'm going to be decluttering is from Wet n Wild. I'm going to be decluttering the Wet n Wild Poster Child palette. And I have not opened up this palette, and I'm not going to swatch the palette, but I did buy it because it does have a nice spring color story. And I do actually like Wet n Wild quality shadows. I don't think I've used one that I don't like the quality of. It's just that I already have a pastel palette in my collection, and I don't really need another one. And I believe I've had this for over a year. And if I haven't cracked it open yet, I never will. So yeah, I'm going to pass this along, because somebody will definitely be happy to have it. Next, the next palette I'm going to be decluttering is by CoverGirl. I'm going to be decluttering the CoverGirl True Naked Peach Punch palette. And I'm sure I bought it because it smells like peaches and it has a nice, light, spring-type color story. But again, guys, I've had this for well over a year now. I may have had it longer than that. I think I bought it when it first came out, thinking I was going to do a full-face drugstore look. But yeah, I never used it. I know I never will. So I'm going to give this untainted, unused palette to someone who'll appreciate it. But it's gotta go. It's gotta go. Next. Okay, guys, I'm decluttering yet another ColourPop palette. I'm gonna be decluttering the ColourPop Yes Please palette. Now, guys, you guys already know this palette was the rave on the tube right along the time of the Natasha Denona Sunset palette. Yeah. Because it does have a lot of the same tones in the Sunset palette for a fraction of the price. And guys, the quality of this palette is next level. Not only are the shimmers of great quality, but so are the mattes. They're very blendable, Very buttery, guys. But I have the Sunset palette and don't even use that. And I don't remember the last time I picked up this palette to even create a look. And besides, guys, I've got the Bad Habit Solstice palette, so that's already got my needs covered. This has already made it past one declutter. So it's definitely not going to make it past the second. Next, I'm going to be decluttering the Moonslice Beauty Emerald Moon palette. And for those of you guys who already saw my video using this palette, you already know why. I wanted to love this palette, guys. Look at this color story. You guys know I love green. Green eye looks are some of my favorite ones to do next to blue. And this color story is the best color story for a green palette that I've seen in a long, long time. But unfortunately, guys, the quality leaves a whole lot to be desired. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. The mattes in the palette, they do work pretty well. And the darker shimmers in the palette are strictly next level. But when using these lighter shimmers in the palette, which I was most excited for, they were rather sheer, guys. They were more like toppers. Not even that. And while this green shade here swatches quite nicely on the hand, it does not translate like that when you put it on your lid. When using a dry brush, they will not adhere. When using a wet brush, they're nothing but a pasty mess. But these shimmers here are absolutely bae. But I cannot substantiate keeping a palette for like 3 shimmers. So, and guys, it breaks my heart because you know that I'm a completionist and I love the other 2 palettes. But 2020 is a new year, new time. So it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life in 2020. And gone are the times to keep a palette in your collection just so it can be complete. It pains my heart and it hurts me to do it. It's almost killing me, but this is one small leap for mankind. I can't keep it. I can't keep it. It has got to go. Finally, guys, the very last palette that I will be decluttering today is the Hood of Beauty Ruby Obsessions palette. Guys, I really want to love this palette. I really wanted to love this palette. When looking at the color story of this palette, the color story of this palette is absolutely stunning. But then I used the palette. And after using the palette, I feel like this palette was nothing but a money grab for Huda. And don't get me wrong, guys, I have quite a few Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes. And next to the neons, this is my least favorite Obsessions palette. When looking at the mattes, they are nothing special. And the shimmers are not quite shimmery at all, guys. After using the palette just once, guys, I actually got hard pan. And guys, the saddest part is not that I'm going to declutter the Ruby Obsessions palette. But the saddest part is the Ruby Obsessions, is the palette that they put in my January Ipsy Glam Plus box. But one man's trash is another man's treasure. So I'm going to make somebody a happy camper. Just not me. So there you have it, guys. Over 50 palettes later, and your girl Lily here is feeling quite accomplished. And out of all the palettes I plan to declutter, I only kept 2 of them. And while I did initially feel separation anxiety at first, your girl Lily here did what she had to do. Actually, I did end up getting rid of some palettes that I thought worked quite well. But I have far too many palettes in my collection to keep them. And let me just end this video by saying something I should have said in the beginning. If I happen to declutter any palettes that were your faves or that you really love, that does not mean that they are not good palettes. They just meant that they didn't work for me. And believe you me, guys, there are indeed some fine men and sex symbols out there that are simply not my type. So I really want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today while I did a massive palette declutter. Yeah, I always love connecting with you guys, my peeps, every chance I get. Every chance I get. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. It only gets greater later, guys. It only gets greater later. So until next time, guys, stay real, stay positive, stay up, and damn it, you better watch, fight, and pray.